I remember that. Traveling for work. All right, I'll go ahead and call our Tuesday, November 25th council meeting to order. If you would please rise and join us for prayer and the pledge.
Please bow your heads with me. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the many blessings you've given us. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening to consider so many items that are important to this community. Lord, we just thank you for the citizens that are here tonight. We thank you for the staff that is here tonight. And we just thank you for the blessing of this community that we're so blessed to serve and to be a part of and to live in. Lord, I just ask that you be with each of us here tonight. Help us to have wisdom. Help us to have the knowledge and the words to say as we work through things to be considered as a group. Lord, we just thank you for the holiday this week of Thanksgiving. We're so thankful for all the blessings that you provide. And Lord, just help us to take time this week to pause and be thankful for all the blessings that you provide and spend time with family and loved ones. Lord, I just ask that you be with each person here tonight as they go home. Help them to have safe travels. Lord, lead us and guide us and forgive us where we fail you. We say all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a roll call, please.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Lewis.
Here.
Councilwoman Oplinger.
Here.
Councilwoman Pettit. Here. Councilman Blades. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have no one signed up for public comment, so we'll move on to council forum. Chairman Pro Tem.
Went to the school board meeting. Outside of that, I don't think I had anything else. So,
Flip for it.
Go for it. I'll flip, I'll go.
It's just been a whirlwind. I've honestly, I've forgotten. I don't have my phone with me to see. But we had a meeting, what, last week? Seems like we did.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even really know. We had that one. So, and oh gosh, I had an unbelievable, you know me, solid waste meeting. It was absolutely unbelievable. And a little bit of an update, the guy that the South 39 that our board was in charge of or instigated getting that tire cleanup, 18 semis, by the way, he is now in the pen and has to do restitution. So, and the grants are open, and I'm encouraging us to apply for a grant for getting recycling started in Aurora. There's $95,000 that's available to different communities. And you know what, last year, we didn't have enough grant applicants to use up all 95,000. So let's go for it this year.
So spectacular. Thanks to Shannon, Carrie, the city, police department, fire department, Travis. All you guys are amazing. We had 1,240 kids, not including
Wow.
adults or guardians or doggies. And then we had our first flag meeting with Aiden. So we've got another one scheduled. We're going to try for December 9th. I was going to try on the 2nd, but I have a huge week-long meeting at work, so I don't want to be late to that. So I'm going to send out a informational email. That's it.
All right. Had the Park Ward Chili Cook-Off at the Rec Center's first annual craft fair, which was very well attended. A lot of vendors, a lot of people moving through, and chili was good. They a little bit of infighting over, you know, the whose was best amongst the team, but the votes won. So, or the votes spoke, I guess. So anyway, they had a great time. Had a lot of talks with people and kind of informed them. We did have City Manager Hallett brought coloring pages and some information about Monarchs. So for our Mayors for Monarchs pledge, that fulfills one of our obligations to kind of spread the word. And that was a little bit of a contest. They have those pictures. Are they still hanging up at the? Or do we already we're done with the votes, right?
Yeah, they're not still hung up, but we've got the information to contact winners.
Okay, so that'll be posted. You'll see who won that coloring contest. And congratulations to Blake Peoples, who won the raffle. for the free month at the rec center.
Great.
Following that, had a park board meeting, again, full quorum, great group of people, and they had a lot of conversations, and I really was excited this time. They kind of started really digging into that mission statement and kind of building an identity around what they want to do and what they want it to be. We wanted them to lead that conversation, not be led, so they're starting to take hold of that a little bit, and they're gonna start, first, they're gonna start reviewing the parks and kind of going through a little bit of a punch list, figure out what they can handle via volunteerism or what needs to be kind of focused on, and they'll bring some items to us if they think it needs to go higher or potentially a budgetary decision. Outside of that, last night attended the emergency action plan draft presentation here at City. We had 3 there, I think, so it was pretty. It's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and once you guys see it, you'll see what we mean. But it's a big deal. It really unifies the teams here, not only within our city, but within other agencies that kind of cooperate with that and kind of helps control the chaos a little bit. So other than that, my short list is over.
Okay. I remembered one other thing that I went to last week. I was invited to a community meeting about Sheltering Hope. We heard a presentation about Elevate Branson that's been in in process for 18 years now, and they presented their program in conjunction with our Sheltering Hope group here in Aurora, and just to see if that is an option for our town. So.
All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. So this will be for 6.1 approval of minutes, City Council regular session minutes on October 28th, 6.2 City Council special session minutes on November 18th, and 6.3 October and November 2025 appropriations.
I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Having no old business, we'll move on to new business. 8.1 resolution number 2025-2063 hospital board appointment, Adriana Coriano.
Make a motion that we accept resolution 2025-2063. I need new glasses, hospital board appointment for Adriana Coronado.
Second.
Motion and second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.2 resolution number 2025-2064 for the 2026 Southwest Missouri District N grant.
Council, this was added to your agenda at the request of Councilwoman Pettit, so I'm gonna let her kind of lead that conversation for you.
Okay, I think I alluded to it earlier. There's an opportunity for the city of Aurora to begin a recycling program. And of course, there's a lot that goes to it. And as I said earlier, there's $95,000 up for grabs or divided amongst people. And the city of Monette gets a lot of money every year to support what they do. And they have a phenomenal program and facility over there. I would love to just pluck that up and put it over with us. So, you know, we can start small and grow from there, but we need some funds to get us started. So that's basically what it's about. The application deadline, reason why it's on our agenda, is December 8th. And so we don't have another council meeting to approve applying for a grant. So I didn't want to apply and we get it and then you say, nope, we can't do that. So just asking for approval. So.
I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 2025-2064 for the Southwest Missouri District grant.
Second.
Motion and second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
And do I need to abstain on that or not, since I'm on that board, or?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, well then, I'm a
You're-
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're our board representative, so I think
Okay.
that's okay.
All right.
8.3 first reading of ordinance number 2025-3359, amending replat 720 North Elliott Avenue.
So it didn't have both descriptions on the original ordinance. And so Lawrence County went and passed it, and I realized there's 2 descriptions. So now there's 2 descriptions on the ordinance, legal descriptions, not just one.
Make a motion, we accept the first reading of ordinance 2025-3359, amending the replat on 720 North Elliott Avenue.
Second?
Motion and second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.4 second reading of ordinance number 2025-3359, amending replat 720 North Elliott Avenue.
I'll make a motion, we accept the second reading of ordinance 2025-3359, amending the replat to 720 North Elliott Avenue.
Second?
Motion and second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.5, first reading of ordinance number 2025-3360, enacting Chapter 550 vacant commercial building registration.
Council, this has been at previous meetings, and we've had conversations about some changes to the insurance requirements and formatting and identification throughout. I kind of turned this over to Kami and legal counsel, so this is your draft now with the most recent proposed changes by you regarding the insurance and the formatting.
Looked good to me. One minor exception, we can, I think, pass it with the correction. Section 550.050, line E, it reads, past inspection. Upon passing inspection, the city shall issue a certificate of compliance confirming that the property has met the required inspection standards and may be eligible. So it just has may in there twice.
Extra
So,
word, okay.
that's it.
Any further questions on that? I'll make a motion that we pass first reading of ordinance number 2025-3360, enacting Chapter 550 vacant commercial building registration with modifications to 550.050 line E, removing the extra may.
Second?
Motion and second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.6, first reading of ordinance number 2025-3361, Empire District Water Company franchise agreement.
Council, this comes to you after discussion with you all previously regarding the time frame on this. So we did reach back out to Liberty. This would be a 5-year rather than a 20-year franchise agreement extension. And it has been through Liberty's hands and their legal's hands, and they have accepted what you're
Great.
proposing based on your vote.
I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-3361, Empire District Water Company franchise agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.7, first reading of ordinance number 2025-3363, fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance.
I'm gonna see if I can keep all this straight here with all the paperwork I want in front of me. So council, I want to give you kind of just a brief explanation to several things that I think are kind of glaring in this budget that's proposed before you in this agenda, and see if I can kind of give some explanation and room for conversation on some of that. So first, I'll start with my projected sales tax revenue. I'm projecting a 3% increase, which is significantly different than previous years, which we've seen projected revenue increases anywhere from 6 to 12%. That's based on just my research, market studies, Missouri Office of Administration, state trends and forecasts, all those things combined. I'm just not comfortable with anything. I want to be a little more conservative this year based on all of that research. In addition to that, you'll see in front of you tonight a document that was not in your agenda that is it's our sales tax revenues since 2020. So this kind of also led to my decision to settle on a 3% rather than what we've seen in the past. You'll see on 2025, so first of all, this has all of our funds on it. You'll see on 2025 for December, there's a number that's red and everything else is black. That is a projected, and what I did is just projected December of this year to be flat in accordance with last year's December, just to kind of give us an idea of where we would fall. So if you look at this across the board, since 2022, we have decreased in our sales tax revenue in terms of our difference each year. So that is also where I come to this more conservative projected revenue, because I'm not comfortable increasing more than what we've seen happening, just because the last few years it hasn't been quite as large as we had seen in years prior to 2020. Obviously 2020, COVID is a part of that conversation. We came back from that very well in 21 and 22. This year we've been up for the most part. So that leads me to be pretty confident in our numbers, but I'm just not comfortable going any higher than that. So that gives you a little bit of justification. The only thing I would say is kind of a different animal, for lack of a better term, would be the local use tax. That one, if we stay flat in December, you're gonna see that we're gonna be over that by about $100,000. But what I did was just went 3% across the board in all funds. So I'm comfortable with thinking that we can meet those projected revenues that I have in there. But that's why I settled on 3, which is significantly different than what you're used to. So then, any questions on that before I move on to my next topic? Okay. So then I want to talk about salaries a little bit. You see in this proposed budget that I have a significant salary increase in here. And what that increase is the 9.1% that is state developed for the minimum wage, going from $13.75 to $15. So we've done that with all of our entry-level positions that are minimum wage. We're taking them to 15. Excuse me. And then aside from that, we've done a 7% across the board. So this year's federal COLA is 3%. And based on this minimum wage situation and the conversations we've had about wage compression, I felt like we needed to try to make some kind of impact across the board. I did look at different areas and ideas that we could do to try to start making a big impact there. But with minimum wage increasing a total of 20.9% in 2025 and 2026, there's no way we take care of that in 1 year. It's just not possible. So I started looking at, do we want to do something tiered? I think wage compression is something where you're not just talking about an across-the-board increase solves it for everyone, because if we're talking about our classification levels 10, 11, and 12, those are your higher paid individuals, and they're not going to be compressed as quickly as our grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. That's really where the concern is. Having said that, I think that's a large conversation. If we start talking about, do we have anything that's classified improperly? Do we think we should classify differently? Do we have more compression in the middle than we do at the top? Those kind of things. That's not a quick, simple answer. And so you'll see in this budget that Kami and I have requested funding for a wage study, because I think it's important that we try to get some market research specific to our positions and to our departments. But that's just not something we had in my hands this year when I was proposing this budget to you. So the purpose for that type of wage increase was trying to make some steps toward improvement and some impact toward that concern that we've discussed that we may have. I don't think it solves it. I think it's taking a step in the right direction. These salary increases that are included in that budget, they are benefits as well as straight wage. So I just want to make sure that you're clear that I did include for the payroll taxes, the retirement increase, and that kind of thing that are percentage based. So that is accounted for in here as well. That's the basics on the wages. I've got a breakdown per department or per fund and that kind of thing as well. Any questions on that?
I mean, I have some, I guess, just related to wages, but let me save my questions for the end.
Okay.
So,
so then I'm going to get into the cash reserves requirement, because I think rather than pinpointing different things within each fund, I need to start with the cash reserves requirement because it's a large number this year. That number started out about 500,000 larger than it is right now. And we made some significant cuts with conversations between myself and the department heads, prioritizing things for this year and still trying to accomplish moving more toward more efficient, more effective, and still focusing on our employees as well. So with that being the case, to give you some explanation to the things that I think contribute to that number that you have to consider a little differently than typical when you're looking at the cash reserve requirement, the transportation fund, the walking trail, and fence for the walking trail is a total expenditure of $312,000. That's a rebudget from previous years. We had that conversation last year, and something that we're tied to, for lack of a better term. It's a very positive project. I don't mean for that to sound negative, but it's something we've already signed up for. So that's kind of just something that's already in there. We funded the sidewalk cost share program out of the transportation fund this year. And then we're budgeting a city match for 2 airport projects. And one thing, that's something new for you guys tonight. I don't think I'd made you aware. We got a call last week from our airport consultants and also from MoDOT. And there's an extra pot of money called discretionary funds. And MoDOT chooses people to certain communities and certain airports to be eligible for that discretionary funding. MoDOT chose us. And what that means is, rather than just the airport, the runway asphalt rehabilitation, we would be able to do both projects, that and the lighting project in 2026. The only catch to that is we have to take care of that 5% match on both projects. So where we previously discussed about a $35,000 match from the city for the airport, we're now at $67,700. So you see that in here as well. We have a capital improvement fund, and then we also have the police and fire fund, the PFF fund, as we all call it. That PFF fund was retired in terms of that tax once that sunsetted, and we have had a balance in that account that is sitting in cash reserves. We have a balance sitting in the capital improvement fund cash reserves as well. That was money that Jesse actually brought to my attention while we were walking through this budget process. And let me pause here and just say, Kami and Jesse and I we have done this all together this year. And bringing Jessica in on that and having actual numbers and them being verified ×3 has made a big difference in how confident we can feel about our numbers and where they land. So I just want to say thank you to Jessica, because she's the one that brought to my attention, this money's here. And these dollars must be utilized for the voter-approved purposes. So when we look at that PFF fund, that has a balance of $300,475 in it that can only be used for the PFS facility or long-term equipment or things that are specifically tied to or operated out of that facility. So with that being the case, we were looking at what can we use, what do we have proposed in this budget that can be used for. So in that PFF fund, I am proposing that we cover the patrol car debt service, the fire truck debt service, and upgrades to 2 fire trucks out of there this year rather than the general fund. I think that's an intended purpose for those funds, and it does not deplete that fund. We'd still have ability to invest the rest if we want to, or consider the same train of thought for next year for 2027.
I thought that also included the body cameras, isn't that right or not?
They are being funded out of general fund in the
Okay.
proposed budget.
Okay.
Then, on the capital improvement fund, same scenario. There's a balance there, and those 2 funds, those are audited cash reserves. $339,628. So when I started looking at what is a utilized or an approved use of those funds, I'm proposing that we cover the City Hall rehabilitation debt service out of there, as well as construction of a new building at the cemetery. So that would be a total of $176,500. So again, we're not depleting that fund. We'd still have a balance left. We could invest it or think about the same thing for next year. So with that being the case, when we put all of those things together, I think it's important to know that when you look at that cash reserve requirement, you can immediately consider that PFF fund expenditure, the capital improvement fund expenditure were intended expenses. So they're going to impact your overall cash reserve requirement, and that makes that number look big, and it is. But if we're going back and getting that money that's stored in that cash reserve account that we just weren't spending otherwise, I kind of look at that as, yes, it contributes to that cash reserve requirement, but it's not necessarily because of a deficit. We're using that money for its purpose. So if you think of it in that context and you add together the walking trail and fence, the capital improvement fund expenditures, and the PFF fund expenditures, those alone total $637,360. So those are things that we either have already agreed to contractually, we're using reserve funds from those separate funds for them, or they're a rebudget from last year, walking trail being a part of that.
Carrie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can we use any of that capital improvement to help with the airport project or not?
No, because it's transportation fund only, so
Okay.
I don't believe we could transfer
Okay.
across those 2 funds.
Okay.
I can ask to make sure of that, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty certain we wouldn't be able to transfer
I was
between
just
the 2.
thinking of being a capital improvement, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can check on that.
okay. Just a thought.
Those are primarily the high points I wanted to talk about. I apologize, my throat's getting dry. Additionally, so what you see aside from those funds that I've kind of singled out here individually, larger purchases and requests that you see in this budget, general fund administration, we're looking at the wage study Kami and I have requested, the Laserfish software for getting things stored electronically, and then some of those partnerships or grant programs that we've discussed. Police, there's an addition of 1 full-time police officer. This is based on the agreement that will be changing and that we've been negotiating with Marionville in January. So I'm hoping to make up for a little bit of that schedule impact on the Aurora side. Body cams for all officers. Fire, we're continuing the SCBA purchases, which was set out last year to be 39,000 every year, roughly, with inflation accounted for every 5 years. Cemetery, new office and shop building. I think Brad's waited a long time for that. I'd like to see us try to really make that happen this year. And then replacement of a truck and replacement of a mower there. Street department, again, we're rebudgeting the walking trail match and the transportation fund. We've adjusted the paving budget a little bit this year, which we haven't done in a long time, based on, we've cut that down just a little bit and moved some of that money to crack sealing in the operational lines, because street staff believes that if they do more crack sealing, we can preserve more streets longer if they pick the right ones, and then work on that paving. Additionally, we're planning to do all of our own prep work again this year, like we did last year, again, and like we did in '25. Which brings in the need for the roller. This also includes an intersection project at Prospect and Carnation. We don't have final budget numbers on that yet, and we're working with some property owners, but this does account for improvements at that intersection. The backhoe, a lot of our maintenance costs this year in that department were the backhoe. And so this would help with that, but I'm proposing a lease purchase agreement rather than a cash expenditure for that this year. And then, again, I've already mentioned the sidewalk cost share. I've mentioned the airport. The only thing outside of those federally funded projects would be, we are budgeting $4,000 there for crack sealing this year to work on parts that won't be in that project. So they're more up around the building and things like that. Park stormwater, affected by the other half of that trail, walking trail and fence. And then stormwater, I'm budgeting $50,000 for a stormwater project there. I've had conversations with a local contractor who actually gave me a pretty solid estimated bid, where they would come in with an excavator, because we don't have the proper equipment to do the clean out. If we provide the dump trucks, we could do the majority of Chat Creek clean out to make that flow better, and then as well as some other stormwater ditches on the southern part of town. So with that, I'm comfortable in that, with that number. And I think we can get a lot of stormwater cleanup done there to kind of help some of that flow volume and that kind of thing. Recreation Center Fund is the Recreation Center Fund. We have a brand new building that hasn't been open a year yet. Our projected revenues for 2025 were based on the Ballard and King study, and the projected revenues were for a full year. We're only seeing numbers for May to October. I think that the first 3 months of the year are probably going to be the most successful months for a facility of its type, and we haven't seen those happen yet. And the cash reports that Anthony provided to me this morning show November to be our best month so far.
Oh, good.
So I'm confident that we're going to continue to improve there. I'm not confident that we have all the right numbers to feel solid on where we're at in this fund, but it does present me some challenges for 2026.
Right.
So that's kind of an overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
This one away.
I do have one question for you or Anthony, maybe, well, since just something I had on my list, I didn't know what it was. Donation expense. It's on line 56. Donation expense of $41.80.
I believe that's going to be along with a scholarship program. So we're hoping to do a scholarship program with local entities and maybe some partnerships. And let me get to it.
That's fine. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it would be some expenditure along with that and kind of budgeting for some revenue with that, but then offsetting.
Because our donation revenue was $225 less, so I didn't know what we were doing to get those donations, but it was like,
Yeah, there's,
added up to me.
I believe it's an offset for that, because we are talking about some kind of scholarship program that would be based on local donation.
Gotcha.
And that's just to help some, maybe classes that can't afford otherwise, to get them in some summer camps for kids, or
Makes sense.
different programs that we hope to put into play this year that we haven't yet in '25.
Okay, great.
Is that a good explanation, Anthony?
So if we took wage compression, pretend wishfully for a moment that we had no wage compression. I know Social Security office was at 2.8, CPI data for last year is 3%, so we would probably be coming in at 3% across the board for salary, right? I guess I would like to kind of maybe separate these two things. I feel like wage compression is its own problem.
Yep.
And I get, they're connected, obviously, but I think if we decouple that with just our normal COLA process, that maybe we could take a separate look at wage compression and come up with just maybe some ideas. And maybe it's back to the 7%, right? Maybe that's the answer. But I would like to maybe just explore some other options. You know, I think 3%'s I agree with that number for COLA, and past that, I think we see if we can get creative to address the wage compression. Whether that's targeted towards, certain individuals or other ways across the board, or the change in, to your point of the grades, some of those higher grades or lower grades, I guess, there's less than $1 between them. So, I think those ultimately addressed by, maybe that's part of the wage study, but, I think we can maybe be creative and get ourselves closer to addressing wage compression than just doing a flat additional 4%. So I personally would like us maybe have a separate conversation about wage compression and take a look at some of those numbers. And it's really just a kind of a complicated math problem that maybe we could get closer to solving. And I guess I fear doing what we've done in years past I don't think it's going to hurt us or take us in the wrong direction, but I think we may miss an opportunity to start correcting the wage compression that will only get worse after the first.
My only concern, because I like the idea, I like the fact that at some point, we're here because we've known this is coming for a while, right? Minimum wage has been increasing for years now. But if, the combination of the two is where I'm struggling a little bit, because if we do a flat percentage like that, the higher end of that, where they may already be right-sized, now are going to take potential funds from the ones that really need addressed based on what we find from this wage study. So I guess my question is, we since my term, I guess, I've always seen wages handled all as one, right? And I don't know if that's, and maybe I need some schooling from some more tenured council members, but is that by code? Is that by choice? Is that by how we've always done it? How are we determining that?
I've asked that. I think I originally had the idea of maybe doing some merit-based increases, and I felt like there was pushback. I don't know if that was accurate, funneled up through or not from staff, that they just want to keep things as is, and they can kind of count on a steady, even if it's lower some years, even if they're working their tail off versus the next guy next to them or woman, that they just prefer knowing what it's going to be and not being a mystery. But I don't know. You've been here longer than I have, so you or Dawn, you ever tried the other way?
Not that I have ever thought of. My whole thing I would say is those three girls worked really hard on this, and we could pass that first reading, and then if we want to have a meeting, I'm not opposed to that, to see if you want to do it modified for the second one.
Yeah.
But I think she did an amazing job.
Yeah, my comments are in no way
Okay, just want to be clear.
And no, so two things. First of all, I don't know the solution. That's what I said in my initial presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual solution to this wage compression yet. I think there's tools and things and other new ways to dig into that we can answer that. I'm just trying to tell you guys I think we need to make a start, you know?
Right.
So I'm open to any conversation. I want the employees to see that we know and that we're gonna try. If this isn't the way to do it, I understand 100%. To speak to your question a little bit in terms of historically, I can't speak for anything past the last 9 years. But I can speak to the fact that there has been conversation from staff in the past, and I'm not referring to any of these people behind me, who I appreciate being here tonight in support of our dreams. Conversation we have had in terms of feedback from staff in the past, if it's not a straight across the board, is it's not fair. And so I think rather than pushing back on that in the past administration and maybe councils, I don't know, this is the easiest way to do it. It makes the most sense in some ways. And we've not, and again, I don't know how far other people have dug before me or before you guys, so I can't speak for them. But I don't know that we've looked at a different approach. We haven't, as far as I know. Maybe my predecessor did and I just wasn't privy, I don't know. But it is in fact kind of that's what we've always done thing. I'm not aware of any city code that requires us to do a straight across the board to answer that question, so I don't think you have anything that ties you there. What we have had heated conversations with staff about in my time here is we're gonna give you additional money in your retirement rather than a wage increase. That exploded. The majority of our staff are in a mindset, an age range, or a stage of life where they're more concerned about what goes in their bank account every 2 weeks. So I don't think that's something that we can use as a offset sometimes to be creative. It is, I'm all about additional retirement because I want to rock in a rocking chair when I'm old. But some of those things have been discussed, and I think those conversations have often led us back to, we're just going to do a straight percentage across the board because everybody gets the same treatment. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's my knowledge.
Have we consulted with any other communities of what they do?
We have done some of that. Kane's done some research. I've done some research. Kim's done some research. And it kind of depends, depending on the community. A lot of them do a percentage straight across the board. I have heard of some, but it's rare, that do a tiered system like I was talking about.
Right.
But they don't do it without some pushback. So, you know, those higher classes, or, you know, sometimes we'll push back on that if we've only targeted the middle tier. However, if you do a tiered approach, and I ran that out and have numbers for it I can give to you, you know, it's not that somebody doesn't get a raise.
Right.
But the higher, you know, grades would just get a lesser, but everybody would get a percentage. It would just depend on how you're classified. I have seen that happen, and I ran numbers to show that, if you want to see them.
So, just to clarify what Don's comment, I mean, I think we're like 95% of the way there for me. So, like a on the job, you know, but it's an important piece of it. So I would love to just explore what our options might be, run the numbers, look at the math, and see if other options make more sense to us before our second reading, and maybe it just doesn't, and that's okay too, you know. But I would like to explore that. I'd hate to get to the end of this wage study and go, gosh, I wish we would have done X, right? And the reality is about it being fair or not is, like, I think we have some employees who are being affected negatively by wage compression. But that is not across the board. Not everyone is affected by
Agreed.
that, right?
Agreed.
And so not everyone gets cell phone money. Not everyone gets boots. Not everyone gets a 4-day work week. Not everyone gets to not come in when it snows. So things aren't fair from the get-go.
Sure.
And people might not like it, but I think there are certain people in certain situations that we just need to correct, period, and do right by them and do right by everybody. And I get not wanting to, you know, not try to take away from anyone at all, but we got to address some of those problem hotspots. So
I'd like to tag off of that just a little bit. Something I hadn't mentioned that I would love to have council feedback on is the way that our pay classification scale is set up right now with those grades in it. It is set up with minimum, mid, so the base, the mid, and the max. And we've always talked about merit raises not, well, for a while we've talked about merit raises not being an option. I don't know what I use that for if we're not talking about somebody's abilities and work ethic and will to step up. And so I've always used an example of, let's say we have somebody that hired in as an administrative assistant 1, and they're absolutely slaying it every day. They're taking on some extra things. They're doing additional things. but I'm not quite ready as a department head to make them an admin 2 yet. I do nothing with them if I can't consider those elements on that pay scale. So for me, when it's time for their evaluation, the purpose for that would be, I'm not ready to reclassify you yet, but maybe I brought you in at the middle, at the minimum, and now I'm gonna take you somewhere near the mid, because you've earned and taken on more responsibilities and done more harder work, but I'm not ready to make you an admin 2 yet. For me, that would be the purpose of that scale, and I guess that could be titled a merit raise, but I don't know what else that scale is for if we don't use it for that. Just a thought,
Yeah.
a seed I'll plant for us to talk about. In addition to that, I agree with you 100%. I can name off 2 employees that are glaringly needed something a
Yeah.
long time ago, and I need to make that right. And I intend to make a couple of those moves outside of this budget when I do their evaluation. We have to have that ability sometimes. So, just food for thought.
So is there, I guess, is there objection to an amendment of making this a 3% COLA with a review of wage compression solutions?
If we pass it as amended with a review, we would still have to have the follow-up after review and then a second after that, correct? Which we still have those meetings, but,
You have to do it within 2 weeks from today, because that's your last meeting of the year.
oh yeah, we're not having the second of the December, I guess,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I
Or
don't-
procedurally, I don't know how, I guess.
That's
I don't,
yeah.
well, to answer to that, and I'll let Justin kind of help me on this and correct me if I'm wrong. I always tell you, jump in anytime I'm talking out of school. But if that's your thought process, I think you could pass it amending the wage increase to the 3% with an intent to separately come back and talk about additional salary conversations.
With wage compression.
So then your budget's passed with a 3% wage increase, but then we all know we're coming back to do something else.
Correct. That's
So then your
what I'm
budget's
comfortable
done.
with.
That's what I'm
Yep.
getting at.
And then we're revisiting if you want to do another wage increase separately. Would that be proper?
Yeah, but just to be clear, I would definitely want to have another conversation. So
Sure.
This isn't a way of council going with 3% and being done.
Well, and Carrie, you're talking about too, hearing everybody, if they want to do something across the board. However, the person that you're talking about, that they've been out of that scale for a long time, I mean, we're still singling out people that need that bump up.
Right.
So there's probably several of those individual people that need bumped up. So
Yeah.
it goes back to what Jason is saying.
Agreed. I don't disagree.
Okay, all right.
I absolutely have people that have been left behind in the dark. But I think that's because of, let me back up.
Just leave it
There's
there.
no because of. I believe I need to set some precedent and continuity, and my decisions and moves need to be similar every time, no matter who I'm talking about or looking at.
Right.
That will be my goal, to make that not happen moving forward.
Okay.
I mean, I actually think having a discussion is good. I don't, in the absence of a study in hand, I mean, this is the right thing to do. We have to move forward. We have to do something, right? My only concern is this, over time, over the next few years, this will significantly change the landscape of what we can do outside of, significantly within the city budget. So, but I mean, it's unavoidable. So, I will make a motion to approve 8.7 first reading of ordinance number 2025-3363 fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance with the labor increase at COLA 3% pending discussion. Actually, let me retract that. It would not be pending discussion on the actual motion, correct? I retract that. So I make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 2025-3363 fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance, amending the labor increase to COLA only.
I will second that motion.
Which is, you're saying it's 3%. I mean, it's like 2.8, but
Yeah,
rounding
rounding
it
it
to
to
We
3.
rounded to 3.
Okay.
I'll be honest, and we rounded to 3.
Okay, I just wanted to specify because
Yeah.
it's actually lower than 3, but just
Yeah.
want to make sure
Okay.
we're on.
CP
CPI was 3,
I
and
just
then
wanna
we've
make
used
sure we're
that
on that.
more than we have the other.
They
Okay.
have.
All right,
Would you like me to rephrase that motion?
No.
Or you, okay, so we have a
I'm
motion
good.
and a second. Please vote.
okay.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.8, special event application, it's a side-by-side Christmas 2025.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, I see that she's sitting back there. I think I'll make it unless I screw it up, Laura Lee. I think we'll be fine. Tonight, the first one is a special event, side-by-side Christmas. It is for December 13th. The event will start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and runs to 10 p.m. Part of this side-by-side is they will be dropping off cards and gifts to recipients, get dog food for the pound, cards to the nursing center, Hope for the Holidays, OCAC Head Start, Kids Foster Closet, and Christian Services. Jimmy Mitchell's is putting this on. They will have a vendor at Jimmy Mitchell's. I didn't get to talk to Wes, but I did talk to Laura Lee this afternoon. I gave her a call just to make sure I had everything completely lined out. That the police department does lead this, and then the fire department is in the back just in case one of the side-by-sides breaks down so they can get them off the route that they do have. So that's kind of the protection as far as them running around town and doing what I feel like is, very important for the community, of course. So they start at Jimmy Mitchell's. Their first stop, they go to the nursing center. It's a pull-through. The second stop, they go to the Aurora Methodist Church. The third one, they go to OCAC. The fourth stop, they go to the Christian Center. The fifth stop is the foster care program for the kids, and then they end up back at Jimmy Mitchell Motors. Anything? Is that good, Laura Lee? You happy? That's what.
It's a great event.
Right, and I do have the route. I mean, they go down Prospect, Hadley, and kind of hit Hudson, and kind of it's the outer part of the city of Aurora. Staff does recommend approval for this special event.
I make a motion that we accept the special event application side-by-side Christmas 2025.
Second?
Motion and second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.9, special event application, pancake breakfast.
All right, this is a first-time event for the police and fire station. This pancake breakfast will be this Saturday, 11/29. The operating hours for this event are from 6 to 10 a.m. This breakfast for the fire station is to benefit the Aurora Fire and Police Association. I think it's a good thing to throw some funds into what these guys do for us each and every day, keeping us safe and stuff like that. Staff does recommend approval for this event as well.
I'll make a motion to approve special event application pancake breakfast.
Second?
Motion and second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to staff report, city manager report.
Council, I have several things tonight, but I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. We've already mentioned the emergency action plan public meeting that was last night, so I'll leave that. Leaf pickup has been delayed this week due to equipment down. We will be putting out a post about that. They were thinking they were gonna have parts and maybe be back up and running today, but it didn't happen. So with that being the case, we hadn't publicized that yet, but we're not quite back up and running, and now we're to a holiday almost.
What
So
broke down?
both the backhoe and the leaf machine.
Oh, gosh.
So
Okay.
I'm glad that you've approved a first reading that includes a backhoe, because we need it real bad. Then let's go to Parks Department. Department head, Travis, and then Dennis, I told you guys previously, they completed training in the playground safety management and inspections. They found out this week already, Travis and Dennis both passed their exams for certification, so
Yay.
very proud of them.
Yay, that's good.
And they are working on assessment of the playgrounds. Tony had mentioned that, Mayor Kennedy mentioned that from the park board meeting. And I just wanted to kind of kick in there. They're partnering with the park board members on that, who are doing their own assessments, and I love that collaboration. So I echo Tony in that it was very exciting to hear the park board getting them involved in ideas and plans for the future, and I'm excited about that. Wastewater, the SRF project continues steadily. The second filter's complete, and the filter building is now 100% functional. And the first solids wasting tank is complete, and they're now working on the second one. So that project has continued to stay on task and in motion. We will be bringing you a budget amendment for that for this year. Some of that wasn't completely budgeted, and it'll be a wash based on that funding. But we're gonna have to do a budget amendment on the expenditures from this year. So we will be bringing that to you at your first December meeting, just to get that taken care of. I've already talked about the discretionary funding for the airport. I'm very excited about that opportunity. Finance Department, UKG, our new time and attendance software is now live. Staff feedback so far has been great. We do have a few that are still working through, trying to figure out how to work through the new system, but so far it's been really handy. And I get time off requests and things like that straight to my cell phone on an app now, and that's so nice. They don't wait on me to go find it in the system. So I still struggle to get them all the time, but I'm getting better. BSNA, the new software, they're completing final data extraction, and all of our software processes are on target for going live December 15th. Jesse's done an amazing job at coordinating all of that, getting all those trainings scheduled and all that moving into December and January. We do have some tricky news to share that I don't have typed in this report in front of you. She learned today that our credit card system will go down December 7th, and we won't be, and so that's for the switch over to the new credit card and payment system. We will not be able to accept credit card payments December 8th through the 15th.
Oh, wow.
We did not know that. So now learning that brings some challenges. We won't be able to do late notices in December. We won't be able to do disconnects in December. And so that's a little bit of a challenge. She's working through the best ways to manage that, but we're going to be publicizing that. And then I just wanted to mention to you guys what Jessica's idea was. She and her department would like to bring you guys a resolution in the first December meeting to waive penalties for December, because that's not our citizens' fault that they can't pay the week of the due date. So we'll probably be bringing that to you in order to kind of help us get through December and give a little leeway there for our citizens. Municipal court, our new court clerk attended some additional training last week, and she just continues to grab a hold of any training she can get, and she's doing a great job. So Pam has stepped in and really done a good job trying to get her feet on the ground and learn all the things she needs to. City Hall rehab project, the ADA ramp will close Monday for starting the demolition and construction of that new ramp.
Great.
On the ADA side. They were trying to get through community Christmas and things before they start making that a mess over there. We are working through an issue with the steps to the main doors on all three sides, the north, the east, and the west. Unbeknownst to us, there was the steps that you see were caps to an original set of steps, which are completely hollow. And that was not expected. So we're working through that. We've done a request for information and pricing to see what that's gonna do to the project. But we're probably gonna have to tear those stairs completely out. We'll leave the landing, and stabilize that while they put new stairs back in. So, we're working through that, but progress continues on the other areas of the project while they figure that out. The Employee Appreciation Luncheon and Christmas celebration is scheduled for December 4th at noon at the Rec Center. We welcome all of you to come. Kami and Kim have put together an ugly sweater contest for that,
And you guys are gonna be the judges.
in which council members present will judge. So, and she has a super amazing trophy already that the winner will receive. So, that's it. Happy to answer any other questions you have for me.
Any other questions, council? All right, I would like to make a motion to postpone closed session until the following meeting in December.
I'll second that motion.
On a motion to postpone closed, will we do roll call on that? We're not going into closed session, we're just postponing, so I assume it would be a normal vote, right? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Kennedy?
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Lewis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oplinger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pettit?
Yes.
Councilman Blades? Okay, it will be postponed to the next meeting.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
1 second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Oh, wait. I'm park board all of a sudden. Hold on a second. I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Oh, wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I'm going to too many boards, and they have different, I guess.